Well, hi guys. It's been a few days since last we spoke, and I pulled that injector, put that injector pump on Monday. Today's Friday, and what I have discovered, tractor runs a lot better on it, but this pump had some problems in leaks. Yeah, it was leaking out of the throttle shaft and the shut-off shaft, as well as leaking here. Now, to be totally honest, that pump has been sitting on Harry's shelf for probably 15 years, maybe more. And, well, let's face it, stuff dries out. But it ran good. It ran pretty good, actually. So I took it down Wednesday, and he put a new gasket in here, new O-rings here and here, new gasket here. And I just got done putting it on and bleeding it out. Now, mind you, I didn't want to bore you with that. Have you seen me do it before and know how long it takes me? Which is about 45 minutes to put one on, hook everything up. But we're going to give it a whirl here in just a moment. And the tractor has not been started since I backed it in here. It's kind of in the meantime. The day I took the pump down Wednesday, have him reseal it, Nick showed up with a 966, and we put that old trip loader on it, which was a bit of a trick, but it went on. And I discovered I have a problem with little Geach here. I've been thinking for the last 3 weeks a month, there's something wrong, and I couldn't figure it out. It acted a little squirrely when you want to turn right or turn left or try to back up right. It was a little weird. Well, I was sitting out in the driveway with about 500 pounds sitting out on the end of the forks, and I tried to back up to the right. Well, it just sat there, and I just happened to look back and see that tire spinning and the front tire not moving. Yes, I broke a drive chain, which is down inside this well, that you have to raise the mast up, lock it, take this cover off, and you can go down there fishing for the chain. Yeah, fun. Loads of fun. So I've got that project to look forward to. Oy vey. But at any rate, back to the 1850. Time I got done Wednesday night, I was wore out, and it was 7 o'clock, so I didn't fool with this. Let's just say Wednesday night was not a good night for me, as I didn't get any sleep. Because my sinus infection flared up oh so dramatically, and it was about 6 in the morning before I got any relief, enough relief to go to sleep. I slept to about 10:30, 11 o'clock, and I had to get out of bed at that point. So I didn't get it on yesterday. Well, it's been raining like it is right now. So there's no real rush and getting it put back on. And to be honest, I could have worked on blue yesterday. I just wasn't no, it just was not on the list of things to do. And if you know anything about body work, you don't do mechanic work and get into body work because, well, let's face it, you got grease on your hands, grease on you, and grease and body work don't mix. So that's kind of been on the hold as far as getting body work done on blue. But I'm going to give this thing a whirl here in just a moment, and we'll just see how she runs with the pump on, and I can check for leaks and all that good sort of rot. Move you back some. So, be back here in just a moment. We'll try. Okay, guys, we're going to give it a whirl. Get some parts set aside. That first step is a killer. Let's see what she does. Well, it does not help. That doesn't help a bit. Had the throttle cable out, and guess what I just discovered? Wasn't in. No, there was something wrong there. Something I missed. Helps when the injector pump can get fuel. Oh. Let's try this again. Contact. apparent I have some leaks. One in particular. Just a sec. Well, it's apparent I have a leak on this cover, and I tightened that bolt up. It shot fuel out. Harry said it don't take much to seal it. Well, I'm thinking maybe it does. Because it shot fuel out around that bolt. So, I'm going to hose this thing off again and let it set. Let this all dry and we'll try it again here in a few minutes. Like I said, this pump has been sitting on a shelf for at least 15 years, maybe longer than that. It could be 20 years. But, got a bit of a mess that is really funny because it comes and goes, and that could just be this pump. It could literally just be this daggone pump. But when you got one you know has a problem, and somebody gives you a pump to try out to see what it does. Now, like I said before, we hit the other pump he had that he sold that I had on this. It ran great. Smooth as silk all the way around. Now, it's unfortunate that I can't get that pump. It's on another 1850 now. But this pump that's been sitting at least 15 years runs better than a pump that is supposedly rebuilt and gone through a total of 3 times now by 2 different guys. I don't know enough about these pumps to do anything to them. I know how to change them. But as far as the mechanics of the pump, I know nothing. There are just some things you don't fool with. A dummy tears into something thinking he can fix anything. Smart man knows when to say, hey, this is out of my realm, I'm not doing this, and takes it to somebody to have fixed. Injector pump is one of those things. I don't have the equipment, the books, the tools, the knowledge to work on. And to tell you the truth, I don't want to know that. I don't need to know that. Okay? I have enough to try to take care of as is. There are certain things you just don't fool with. That is one. I'll work on anything, and I have worked on a lot of different stuff over the years that I had no idea what I was getting into when I did it, but I figured it out. Injection pumps are one of those things I don't even want to think about taking apart and trying to fix myself. I know better. Okay? It's just literally in the you need to know when to say when. And I know that point. But I'm going to let this thing sit and dry off, chill out for a few minutes, and I'm going to try it again. Now, I loosened it up, I turned it back, I turned it that way, and it didn't change anything. I turned it this way, it got a little easier, but I was past the mark. And what I have figured out, if the timing gear is set on top dead center and your drive shaft in here, there's a notch in it. If it is where the notch is in the casting, then the pump is timed correctly, or the engine is timed correctly for the pump. And you just set the short drive shaft, that's about that long, down into that drive. The male shaft goes in the female shaft receiver down below, that's driven off the brass gear, which is driven off the worm gear here, which is driven by the timing gears. Then this part of it underneath is correct if those notches line up. If those notches line up, then you put the short drive shaft in. It's a blind shaft, it only goes in one way, and you set the pump down on it, and that's the way the pump at the pump shop is timed too. Now, I don't know the degrees, all that, I don't know. I just know from working on this, when everything here down aligns, and that's on top dead center, then it's correct. And that's what they time. This pump is set to run at. That way your lines line up right here, the mark on the pump, the mark on the block, and it's timed. And it doesn't matter if you take this pump off and roll the engine over, when you go to put it back in, you turn the pump to line up with that blind spline, it's timed. It can only go in one way. So I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes, get something to drink, and we'll be back once this chills out and dries. Plus, I want to let the barn air out a little. It's getting a little smoky in here. So we'll be back. Okay, guys, we're going to try it again. See what it does. Here we go. kind of odd getting a random puff of smoke out of it. Hard to say exactly. That could be the injector pump. I don't know. But I know all the injectors were rebuilt and set. I don't know. I think I am going to have seepage from this gasket That's where it's coming from. Any leak is coming from right there in this gasket. I've tightened it up to where that's good enough for me, kind of deal. May have to let Harry come up, listen to it. Now the smoke deal, getting a puff of white smoke out of it every now and then, that is something I haven't seen it do. And it's random. But there and again, I'm dealing with a used injector pump that has sit for a long time. So there's nothing that says this pump doesn't need rebuilt. It probably does, but it's in the guessing game on my part right now. Because that's all I can do is kind of guess at it. But I'm going to shut the fuel off. And call it a day. It's Friday. It's been raining. I want to get home, put a video together, and try to get it put up tonight if I can. Kind of in that trying to catch up video-wise. You got sticky needle nose pliers, just get some diesel fuel on them, let it sit on something vibrating. I guarantee you there's rust going to come out of places you never dreamed of. Well, I'm going to leave it here, guys, and call it a day as far as this goes. I've accomplished what I wanted to. I got it put back on. Leak-wise, did I find another one? Probably 3/4, yep. I'll check that in a minute. But we're going to call it, guys. Dealing with a lot of unknowns. I know the tractor ran like a top on that old pump that I had put on and tested it with when I changed over. Was over in the field disking, and I come back, changed it from the new pump to that old pump, put it on, went back to disking, and you could see a big difference. And it ran beautifully, and I didn't get any of this puff white smoke stuff. So that could be 100% this old injector pump. But I'll get a hold of Harry, he'll probably want to come up and check it out and see what he thinks. So, we'll see you next time, guys. And as always, please comment, rate, and subscribe. When you get into something like this, another set of eyes is always really good to have. What you think might be the problem, somebody else will see something else. So we'll see you next time, guys. And the 1850 saga continues. See you next time.